Hello, my name's Joey and welcome to my tour of props and artifacts. Now today I'm looking at not so much an artifact but more of a document, a book. This is my personal collection of my theories on mysteries, ghosts, UFOs, all that kind of business. We did briefly touch on this book when I did a little video on my vintage bureau over there. But today I'm going to talk about one of the most fascinating things that happened to me was when I used to, I was a student at the Miskin Theatre. Now the Miskin Theatre still exists. It's a course where people can go and train to be an actor, work behind the scenes, all that business. But I'm 43 now, and when this happened, I was around about 18, 19. This was back in 1995 up to 97. The Miskin Theatre was part of Northwest Kent College. It was in Dartford, and there were rumoured to be a ghost, or at least 3 ghosts there. These are my personal experiences. Now, it all began for me when I first joined the Miskin Theatre in 1995. I began to hear brief kind of mufflings from the second year about the place being haunted. So there wasn't like anybody was rushing forward and telling us, oh, the place is haunted. You know, you had to kind of almost find out for yourself. Now, the first time I ever found out was we were in the back studio and we were rehearsing for, it was a project where you had to make your own show. It had to be about a political matter. And there was a girl in front of me called Tanya. I was sitting in a seat and next to me was an empty seat. It was the back studio. It was a little back studio. It was a mini theatre which was sometimes used for small performances. And so I'm sitting in the seat opposite. The seat beside me is empty. And so I'm sitting there, I'm looking at her, and she turns around and she double takes. She kind of goes like that. And she wasn't going to make a thing of it. So I just thought, I asked her what the problem was. I said, what was the matter, And she said, oh, I just thought I saw an old lady sitting there. Never ever spoke about it again. She never even made a big thing about it or anything. But it always stuck in my mind because about a year later, in that exact spot, now the seating units used to pull out from underneath a platform. So where the seating units would have pulled out, that exact spot, one of the directors who worked there, he said he could sense a cold spot. Now, unbeknown to him, I remember him saying, can you feel it? It's cold right here. And I couldn't feel a thing. But of course, I knew that was the exact spot where if you pulled the seating units out, that's where the little old lady would have been sitting, which was seen by Tanya. That was my first experience. Of course, I didn't see anything. For me, it just went past as though, whatever. Didn't think much about it. So the very first encounter I had, I don't know if you can see it here, let's call it Casper. It was on the 18th of December, 1996, which is a Wednesday. I just finished filming a show. I think it was Pinocchio we were doing, and the theatre itself, there was a seating unit here, 2 seating units there, the stage was in the middle, and of course here is the sound room. And I was on the sound room roof and I was filming the show. And as luck would have it, I had literally just stopped filming, and there was a family, there was a mum and a dad, no, 2 mums standing there with a toddler just kind of toddling around like they do, not moving but just kind of constantly moving on the spot, as they say. And in front of the sound room studio was a ramp. Now, as I've stopped filming, I'm looking out onto the stage, which is the flat ground, and I've suddenly seen someone run straight down the ramp. Now, in my mind, for some reason, as I've seen this person run down the ramp, it was very, very fast, and then all of a sudden, my adrenaline kicked in, because I remember thinking, well, that's a hollow ramp. Even if you go down there at a relative speed, you're going to hear footsteps, which is why we were told not really to use the ramp during a production, or at least go slowly. It was a hollow ramp. So the speed they were going, now this was fast, you blink and you miss it. Speed they were going was very fast, and there was no sound whatsoever. My recollection of the time was it was a grey, misty shape, and the only distinguishing feature which stuck out in my mind, I don't know if you can see that from there, was this little point at the back, and at the time it reminded me of the BT man, the symbol for the BT man, just kind of the running man, and this little point at the back. That was the most distinctive thing that sticks in my mind of the shape. So that was the most humanoid shape I'd seen of the ghost itself. So it ran down the ramp, made no sound whatsoever, and of course I was really chuffed, because in my mind I had seen it. I had seen this ghost that people had begun to talk about at that point. So that was the first time I saw it. I remember during there was a production called A Good Day to Die, and I think that was 1995 as well. Yeah, and I remember there was a hell of a lot of hysteria around that production. A lot of people getting nervous and blaming the ghost and things like that. So I'd love to know the bottom of that, because I don't know. I don't know the story to that. I just remember the hysteria, which was quite interesting. The second time I saw the ghost it was witnessed by somebody else. It was a guy called Scott. What was brilliant about the Miskin Theatre was we were always allowed to ghost hunt if we wanted to. The director there was brilliant. Robbie McGovern, I'm going to give you a shout out because you were brilliant. He would let us stay there, and he'd always say, just remember, alright, if anyone asks, I don't know you're here. And that was great. He'd leave us with the keys and we could spend all night. The only night we did spend there was around about Christmas. It's in here somewhere. I can't give you the exact date. It's just say it's 1996 to stop fumbling through the pages. But we stayed in the soundproof room, and there was about 8 of us there. So, of course, any sounds we did hear, it was a laugh, you know. I would say if you're going to ghost hunt, go in a massive group, because you're not really going to get scared if there's a big group of you. And around about 1 in the morning, 2 o'clock, me and this girl, Larissa, her name was, we both heard a very high-pitched hee sound, a little high-pitched laugh, which seemed to echo, which I'm guessing was from the back studio again. But of course fascinating, because the green room is a place where all the actors were supposed to go in between shows, was soundproof. But we definitely heard this high-pitched little boy or little girl's laugh, which was only for a second, which was amazing. This hee, and that was it, was gone. Definitely a laugh. I can't quite do an impression that fast. So the second time I saw the ghost, it's not really much point me going through this book trying to find the exact date, because I remember it so well, but and the drawing's not exactly going to be amazing. So let me try and tell the story whilst I'm flicking through. So we're doing a show called 1963, and there's a guy there called Kieran, and he made a wrong chord on his guitar, and he just kind of went, oh, like that. And the stage was full of actors. And the instant he did that wrong chord, I saw going in amongst the crowd this pillar of whitish grey pillar, like about as thin as that. Maybe it's about 6 foot tall, I don't know. But what was amazing was it's the speed and the kind of direct kind of pattern of it, you know, the direct movement of it across the stage, more or less onto where the guitars were being played, but I didn't see it go that far. And what was fascinating to me was that I was the only person that saw that, and that was fascinating. It moved through the crowds. Nobody else was aware of that. And once again, it was one of those adrenaline moments that, wow, I've just seen the ghost, or one of many, as I'll get onto later on. And the third and final time I saw it, actually, that was the final time. The middle time, I was going to tell you, wasn't I, about was witnessed by someone else. Me and a guy called Scott, we were in the theatre during the day. Of course, all of this mostly happened during the day as well, because it was a daytime course. And once again, we've got, so the theatre set up, we've got 2 seating units here, we've got one there, the stage is in the middle, there's a bit of a background kind of stage part, and there's the sound box here. Scott and I are standing here. There's Scott, there's me, and there's the 2 seating units. Anyway, there's the 1 seating unit and a bit of the stage. So anyway, he reacts to me, or we both do it simultaneously. Basically, I look at something, he turns around at exactly the same time to look over his shoulder, and I see what I can only describe as a greyish white square, because my mind couldn't put any shape to this. And it just, once again, we've got the seating unit there, and it just went straight around the back of the seating unit. It's very fast. And Scott saw that as well. And that's what was great about that, was that we both saw it at the same time. That was 1996. And could not begin to describe what it was. I think my mind made it a square because I've got no idea what the hell shape it was. So that was the second time. The third time and final time was the Shaft of Light. Now, other stories to do with the Miskin Theatre was a wonderful woman there called Sarah Jane. She was a set designer, in charge of set design, and we were doing a lighting plot for the second run of, what was it called? It was a play about the Crusades. Very good play. Oh God, what was it? I can't remember what the hell it was called. Anyway, so we're doing a lighting plot, Shadow of a Cross. There we go. It's called Shadow of a Cross. We're doing the lighting plot for that, and obviously it's quite dark. And all of a sudden, halfway through it, Sarah Jane goes, "Excuse me, this is the lighting plot. Can you get off the stage, please?" She's put the light on, and then she's gone, "Oh God, I've just seen the ghost. Carry on." And that was the casualness to which sometimes the ghost would be. You know, if it's not like this ghost was malevolent or bad. It was just there, you know. And so that was brilliant. I didn't see a thing, but I just loved her ease of which she said, "Oh, I've just seen the ghost. Carry on." I mean, I don't want to bore you by flicking through and trying to find these dates. I thought I would find them a lot easier, but yes, that was Sarah Jane and the Ghost. What other accounts can I remember from there? We did used to ghost hunt a lot, but we didn't really ever see or hear anything apart from the giggle. Before the Miskin Theatre was knocked down in 2003, myself and some of my other friends, we managed to get in there, which was brilliant. We spent the night there. The green room was locked, and the back studio was, of course, still there. But I remember waking up to the sound of a scaffold pole falling on the floor, and my two friends saying, "Well, the green room was locked, so whatever was in the green room might have got out," which of course made me a bit worried. And I grabbed the broom pole that I took with me, you know. But scaffold pole falling down could be anything from a mouse to heat, God knows what, you know. What other accounts are there? I've done the cold spot, I've done the old lady, done the hysteria. Obviously, if anyone's watching this from the Miskin Theatre from those days, has any other stories, that would be amazing. The brilliant thing about this is, whether you believe it or not, it actually warranted enough worry to get an official investigation into the Miskin Theatre by a paranormal organisation, which this is. This was given to me by someone who I really wish they had the rest of it, because this is just the opening kind of file on. They did a seance there. The seance didn't come to anything, but such is the case, really, isn't it? Once you start looking for these things, so a lot of times you don't find them. They didn't manage to find anything interesting about Miskin. They couldn't find any violent history or buildings on the site. Incidentally, where the Miskin Theatre used to be now is a housing estate, so would be very interesting if anybody's living there with a haunted house. The ghost is still around. Yeah, this is the Association for the Scientific Study of Anomalous Phenomena, 7th of August 1996. This is very, very special to me because this is the time I was there, so this was great. Of course, this was kept secret as well. No one spoke of this. No one spoke of this seance or vigil or investigation into a ghost. You know, you'd think if this was a hoax or people playing around, that everyone would know everything. You know, there'd be rumours, but no, it was all kind of hush hush. So, where it all began is not an experience of mine, but apparently the rumour was, and I've just spoken about there not being rumours, but there's always going to be some. Apparently, one of the opening nights of the show, some, I don't know, investors, let's call them, were brought along to see the show. And at the end of it, they said, "What did you think?" And they said it was great, but we were rather put off by the lady and her two children standing there, the front of house members. That I just thought, it wasn't very on for them to be standing in front of the stage. And the whole rumour was that, well, there was nobody standing in front of the stage. Nobody else saw them. The rumours, I know I've spoken about, there were no rumours, but let's just say the hypothesis, shall we say, was that we always kind of thought there was probably a lady and 2 children. I mean, I definitely saw what looked like a child the first time it ran down the ramp. That was definitely the most humanoid I've ever seen a ghost. The third and final time, the pillar of light was about 6 foot tall, so maybe that was the mum. I don't know. Maybe the square shape was another child, or in fact the child I'd already seen, and mostly the ghost would go down the same route. It would be, we've got a seating unit there. It would kind of come that way and then disappear around the back of the seating unit. I'm really racking my brain for any other tales I heard from the Miskin Theatre, but I can't think of anything. I think that's it. As I say, not too many ghost stories, but definitely enough to warrant an official investigation into it. So, something had to have been there. I know some of the staff members didn't like being there at night. I mean, I would love it. That would be cool, but they didn't like that. I think that's really it. A friend of mine, Paul, he was... Okay, this is pretty major, actually. He tends to be quite sensitive towards these kind of things. You'll go in a place where there might be rumours it's haunted, and sometimes he'll get something brush up against him or whatever, And I know at the Miskin Theatre, at the back of the stage where that seating unit was a tiny little area the musicians could go. And sometimes he would feel someone perhaps touching him or things like that. There's thunder in the background. That's brilliant, perfect timing. And the only other time he saw it was, the only other story I've got is we were sitting down on the steps outside the theatre and he saw a black shadowy figure go through the glass, i.e. from behind the doors, move that way to what was a dance studio. Just a shadowy figure, nothing else. Very, very fast again. Once again, not very exciting. I would like to say if this was a load of crap, which you can think it's a load of crap, I'd make it a bit more exciting, but it really isn't. Sometimes seeing a ghost is not exciting at all. It just is what it is. And I really think that generally is all of the experiences I can bring together of the Miskin Theatre when it used to be part of Northwest Kent College in Dartford. Wonderful days, wonderful place. Thank you very much, Robbie McGovern, for taking me on. You created some of the best years of my life, and you gave me some of the best friends I've ever had, and that was brilliant. So thank you, Robbie McGovern, and thanks for watching. As I say, that is it, but I definitely know that is it. Can't think of any more experiences, but yeah, here we go. They're all written in here. I won't bore you with the dates. And an official... The only mistake on the video, look at that. An official investigation was launched into it, even though it turned up with nothing. But then that's usually the case. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Look after yourselves, because you can't take care of yourselves if you don't look after yourselves. And I'll see you soon. Bye.